The market turns bullish as the bears disappear. Have we found a bottom? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay guys, so in last week's video we talked about the fact that we needed patience as we did have sloppy patterns in both directions, and the bulls delivered a little bit of clarity yesterday with a strong move up. Now the question is, are the bulls in control and do we have a bottom? I'll get into that in just 1 second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbert, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP 500 and the NASDAQ. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, so a couple of housekeeping notes before I jump into the charts. First, as you can see, I'm in another new place. If you've been following the channel, you know my family and I have been traveling the country in our RV, checking out this amazing place. But we've had some positive family news, and we are going to start settling down and getting into a house. So I will be moving this week. I did not have a video yesterday, and I will not have one Thursday and Friday of this week, as I will be moving into a new home, but things will be back to normal next week. Second, we launched a day trading algorithm in my room. Normally we didn't day trade, but now with this algorithm we are. And as you can see on the screen, the results are pretty impressive. So far for the month of October, we are absolutely killing it. And if you want to be part of this winning team and be part of a trading group that actually makes money and teaches you how to understand the market, stay tuned for later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 1 hour futures chart for the S&P 500. And last week we were tracking two different diagonals, the potential for this bullish diagonal to the upside and the potential for the bearish diagonal to the downside. The bullish is these smaller two lines here to the upside that are kind of opening, or a expanding diagonal is what we would call that. And what we would expect, if this is a diagonal, and we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we would expect wave 5 to take an ABC shape as it is a diagonal. And yesterday's move would have been A. We'd look for a B wave pullback and then C up toward the 4480 area to complete that diagonal. That would be the most reasonable path off of this low to give us a wave 1, okay, from the low back here at 4238. Now, if they do complete that pattern, and that is what is playing out, we should expect to see really strong selling, as once diagonals complete, they often reverse very sharply. In this case, reversing to the downside, where they should test this 4300 area, and then they should be able to hold support and start back up from there. So if they are able to complete this ABC up toward 4480 or so, 4450 to 80, and then we see sharp selling back towards 4300, that would be a strong indication that we had a leading diagonal off of the low. We should look to hold support down here and start the next move higher. Now, there is one other count that is kind of starting to show its head, and it's interesting. This move off of the low can be considered impulsive if they give us one more high. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need one more high up or to around 4422 or so. And that could be considered a wave 1 of C. And that can be a little confusing here because we should be looking for impulsive counts. But in this case, because this drop came down so low, we could call this move off of the October lows of last year a diagonal, the whole move. So in that case, all the other waves would be 3 waves as well. And this would be A, B, and then we would start C with 1 of C to the upside if this can push up towards 4422. And then we'd look for a pullback in wave 2, okay, and then a breakout in 3, 4, and 5 after that. Now, both of these paths, should they get up to about the 4450 area, 5080 area, because what would happen is you'd get this pullback in either B of the wave 5 or 2 of that C wave I just mentioned. Both of these are going to look very similar until we get down to here and then come back up. If it's going to be the C wave that plays out to the upside, that's going to target around 4560, okay? If that's going to be the case, we should look for a pretty strong move back up to this high right here, and then a pullback off of that for a 1-2-1-2 setup. Remember, when wave 3s come in, you have to count all 5 waves. So off of this 4, you have wave 1 and wave 2. So that's the first 1, 2. And then you have 1 of 3, 2 of 3. Okay, and then from there, you get 3 of 3 to the upside. Okay, and that would end up taking us to around 4540, and then 4 and 5 up to that 4560 area. And that would be the big difference here, is they would come up to this high and reject and then go forward. Now, if we're in the ABC in wave 5, that C wave is going to be smaller, so it's going to look different. You'll get a much smaller 1, 2 here. It won't come up to this high. You get a much smaller 1, 2, and then the breakout over the previous high here which would take us up to the 4580 area, and then we'd look for that strong sell-off from that area. So the size of the 1, 2 of 3 is what matters, and that's how you'll tell the difference. If they're able to push it back up to wherever they make the high, so if they already made the high, or they're going to make it around 44.22, and they pull back and they come back up to that level before you see the wave 2, then it's most likely the bigger C wave up toward 45.60. If they give you a 1, 2 that's much smaller and then break out, then we're looking at the 45.80 area or 44.80 area as a top in this wave 5. So a little nuance there. The size of the 1, 2 of 3 is what tells us how big the next wave is going to be. And that's what we would look for to kind of understand the difference between those two counts. For the bears, they don't have a lot going right now. This is not an impulsive structure to the downside. It doesn't mean it can't be a ABC. Remember, we are tracking a diagonal, so we could be tracking this as an A, B, C for A, and then a B, and then a C down to give us 5. That could be the case. I don't see it as likely for a lot of reasons. We have a lot of reasons we talk about in our trading room that the bulls are in control of this market right now, and those have been proven true since back here. I talked about them. We bought our 401ks back in, down around this low. Actually, it was right in here because they gave us this overnight and then pushed back up. So we bought our 401ks back in at about as low as you could, and now we're all the way back up here with them now. So there was a reason we bought down here. We talk about those things in my trading room. It's why the real-time updates and the things that I give out in my room are so valuable, because what I do on here is just a snapshot in time. What happens in the room and what we see with all of the other indicators that we go through in that Elliott Wave for Beginners course, that's what's important in understanding bottoms and understanding why we're looking bullish right now. So overall, that's what we'd be looking at for the bull count. The bears need to follow through either really strongly to the downside and break this low, and then come back up and hold resistance, or get another new high to build off of and try to fail it from there. But overall, the bulls are in control of the market. Over on the NASDAQ, okay, on the NASDAQ, similar type of look here where we are looking at this as a potential wave 4 low or a potential AB setup. If it's a wave 4 low, okay, we'd be looking for an A, B, C up for 5 into that 15.5 to 15.600 area. And then from there, again, we'd be looking for a really strong sell-off because it would be a diagonal down into this 14.865 area and then up from there. For the alternate count, again, we have a 5 up on the NASDAQ. They actually did give us 5 up here as they gave us a new high. They pulled back and then gave us a slightly new high on the NASDAQ, which did give us a 5 up. I would like to see them push a little bit higher up towards this 15.400 area and then pull back. But we do have 5 up on the NASDAQ, which could be this potential wave 1. And then we'd look for that wave 2 pullback to hold support. And then we'd look for that 1, 2 setup. So remember, if it was going to go to 5, we'd get that small 1, 2. But if we're looking for this Roman numeral 3 up here, we're looking for a bigger 1, 2, and then like this. Okay, so that's what we would look for. The 3 would be about 15.760 to 15.832 in that area to the upside. And overall, that's the kind of breakout pattern you would look for on the NASDAQ. Very similar to the ES. The counts, the markets trade in step, and these two are no exception of that. So they have very similar counts. Again, for the wave 5, you'd be looking at a pullback and then a C wave up and then a sell-off. For the wave C, you're looking at a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then breakout. Okay, that's the difference between the two. Now, the bears have a problem on here because this is supposed to be a C wave down of 3 if that's what the count is going to be. And we don't have that. That's another of the reasons, many reasons we've talked about why the bulls are in control. This is pretty clearly 3 waves down. And then they came back up impulsively off of that. So it does not look like it's starting a C wave down here when you have a 3 down. That is not how C waves start. So we are not getting the expected bear move here, which does tell us that the bulls are trying to push this up. And the bears would really want to see another high and then down. They can give up a little bit more upside, but not a whole lot. And if we see just a kind of look above and fail here that fails really strongly, then we have to kind of take note that we may be in that bigger C wave down. But overall, the bulls right now are in control of the market. They have the ball, and as long as they continue to push forward, then the bears are in trouble. Guys, if you love the information I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link, and it will take you right over to the website. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible monthly plans that both come with a 7-day free trial, because I want you to get in there. I want you to make sure you love it and become part of the trading team before you ever spend a penny. You can cancel at any time. We also have our Elliott Wave for Beginners course. This course is what I talked about earlier in the video. It tells you all of the things you need to look at to understand why the market dynamics, how they are. And it's helping real traders make real money and understand the market in a way that makes sense. It's hard to understand why we keep pushing higher even though CPI and PPI were hot last week. The news doesn't matter. Key levels, support, resistance, and these patterns do. Elliott Wave gives you a way to understand the market. It's 25 videos in 3 sections where I go over the introduction, which has your expectations, your mindset and emotion, KISS method and why it works, your chart setup and tools, all of the tools you need to make sure that you understand what the market is telling you. In our Elliott Wave for Beginners section, where I go through each of the waves, what their targets are, what their failure points are, how they work, what you're looking for, as well as how to use all those tools with them. I also go over the corrective zigzag theory of alternation, the corrective depth theory, the pivot, everything you want to know to understand the market in a way that makes sense. The really cool part about the course is it is included in both monthly rooms. So if you don't want to pay for the course, you can become a monthly member and get it for free. In our first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, all of your Elliott Wave questions answered, a midday video where I go over exactly where we are in the counts and what to expect, as well as the training material you just saw. We trade the SPY and the QQQ and we swing trade, which means our trades last anywhere from a few days to a few months, so we don't trade quite as often as a day trading room does. However, if you are interested in day trading as well as individual stocks, you need to check out PT's Throne Room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as day trading, individual stocks, and PT's reduced risk binary method that just crushes the market. He gets you in at a cheap price and gets you big multiples on your money, and it's how he structures his trades that's so unique. It's something you really have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into an account trading mini ES futures, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we would love to have you in these rooms so we can all make money together. All right, the key takeaways for today. The bulls really want to make one more high here. If they're going to make this impulsive, we'd like to see them push up over yesterday's high. If they can do that, we'd be looking for a wave 2 pullback into that 43.60 area. If they hold that, then the next bounce will tell the story. If it is a smaller 1-2 setup, we would be looking for that wave 5. If it's a bigger 1-2 setup, we'd be looking for this bigger wave 3 up around 45.40 or so. So those are the 2 main counts that we'd be tracking on the ES. On the NASDAQ, same 2 kind of situational counts where we're looking for a little bit higher. They do have 5 up on the NASDAQ, but we'd like to see one more push higher, then a pullback, and then the size of this 1-2 will tell the story. A small 1-2 tells us we're probably headed to 5 here, around 15.6. A bigger 1-2 tells us we would likely be targeting that 3 wave up around the 15,700 area. Guys, that is your market update for today. I will talk to you tomorrow.